All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for viewing yet another episode of the Ashish Ddavidd Show. As everybody knows, we all are locked down. The irritation and the frustration now is not कि मुझे corona नहीं होना चाहिए. The thing is कि मैं कुछ भी नहीं कर सकता. I can't get out of the house. I can't ride my bike. I can't go in the car. I can't go meet my friends. There is nothing to do. Everybody is just home. People are getting really, really irritated. And in this moment of tragedy and comedy, I thought, I should visit people's homes via this Skype call that, is enabling me to do this show. And I should visit people who have interesting things to tell me about what's happening in their life. And that is why today I have somebody called Ruchi Gupta with me. Ruchi, what's up?
Hi Ashish, how are you doing? Thanks for having me on your chat show. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I'm happy to have you, Ruchi. Firstly, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your family. Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you?
So, I'm in Singapore and I have been here for the past, it's been about 15 years now.
Wow, all right.
And before Singapore, my husband and I, we were like total vagabonds. We were shifting countries almost every 8 to 9 months. So
wow.
I think we've lived in about 7-8 countries before coming to Singapore.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so basically what I do is I'm a writer. I've been writing for about 20 plus years now. And most of my writing consists of, travel articles since I've been traveling so much for so long. And some of my writing also consists of health-related topics. Also managed to publish a couple of children's books here in Singapore.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I'm very curious, Ruchi, tell us about which all countries have you been up to, and tell us a little bit about each country.
Before Singapore, we were in a country called Brunei. That's where I published a lot of, articles for newspapers. So the main newspaper over there was known as Borneo Bulletin, and I think I published around 25 to 27 articles over there. And we were there for a short stint, not very long. We were there for about one year. But now this lockdown situation reminds me a little bit of Brunei because it was such a small place and there was hardly anywhere to go. There was one big mall, one main mall where everyone used to go to. Nothing else. So this lockdown situation is quite similar to the lifestyle in Brunei.
So people could either be locked down in the houses or they could be living in Brunei and it would be more or less the same thing.
No, but the thing is, it had other stuff. Like it didn't really have malls and too many restaurants, but we had a different sort of lifestyle over there. There were clubs, so we were fairly active. A lot of sports happening over there.
All right.
A lot of movies and going to people's houses for coffee meetings and lunches and dinners because there was nothing much to do. It was a very relaxed sort of a lifestyle.
So I'm just curious. I'm just wondering, what does your husband do, and is he in a job which is transferable or like?
Yeah, so he is a civil engineer by profession. Before the kids, my twins were born here 15 years ago in Singapore. And before they were born, he had a this sort of job where he had to work on a project basis, to project basis. Mm-hmm. So, which is why we've lived in places like Dubai and Brunei, Houston, Jakarta, Bangkok. So we've lived in all these places for short stints.
So cool. So tell me one thing that you loved and you didn't like about each of these places.
Bangkok, I like the nightlife over there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Chatuchak market and all. Well, I'm a vegetarian. I think I didn't enjoy it that much being a vegetarian because
I understand.
They have a lot of street side food which is non-vegetarian, and people who are non-vegetarians can really pig out.
Yes, that would definitely not be a place for me to go if I want to lose some weight. Correct.
So the nightlife is good over there, but then, as you know, Bangkok, the language problem is very serious over there. So even if you go to restaurants, they don't understand things like salt, ketchup, pepper. Even
so you have to do this. You have to do
all sign language. Yeah, it's all sign language. Houston, well, we had nice friends there. We had a nice set of friends there, but as a place, if given a choice, I wouldn't really like to live there long term. It's good for a short break, like a year. We were there for about a year, but the time we were there, it was like you hardly get to see people around because I'm used to crowded places.
Yes.
Like I'm used to Bombay, Mumbai, and other places where you have a lot of energy buzzing around, people buzzing around.
Yes.
And Houston is a place where there are no sidewalks. People don't walk over there. You don't see anybody walking on the road. So even if I used to joke that even if you have to go to the next block, people just take out their cars just to drive to the next road.
Oh my God.
Pretty walk there. Yeah.
So
One thing I really missed was
wow.
seeing people, seeing energy over there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel, Ruchi, like being creative people, we also like sponges. We absorb energy around us, and I think especially being a creative person, if you're isolated for too long, you don't feel very good, and somehow it reflects on other things as well. Then.
Absolutely. Also, the positive thing about Houston, one thing that I liked was we had a good friend circle, and people were very amicable that way. And we used to have house parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one of the best features of Houston is NASA, of course.
Yes, NASA.
That's one place I really love to go. And in fact, one of my children's book is also based on NASA. That was my inspiration for writing my second children's book, which is The Curly Whirly Twins on a Space Adventure.
So where can people go and buy this book, or where can they order it, or is there like an online place where they can buy the PDF? Like, how does it work? How do people get that book?
Yeah, so it's on Amazon. It's only online. It's called The Curly Whirly Twins on a Space Adventure.
I'm a huge, supporter of children's books and children's stories.
Okay, yay!
Yay! And so also like Dubai. So tell us about Dubai, because I'm close to Dubai right now, and I often wonder what it's like there. So please tell us about Dubai.
So I loved Dubai. I loved living there because we had great friends. There's a huge Indian community out there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I miss those people now.
Yeah.
And the buildings, the architecture is so good. I mean, I think it's probably one of the best. People in Dubai, like sheikhs and all, you must be knowing, you must have come across a lot of sheikhs over there in Oman. So sheikhs are extremely rich, and they like a really rich sort of a lifestyle out there. So all their buildings will be top class. The highest structures you can see, architecture is the best out there.
Yeah, things get a little blingy, I have been told.
Yes, and
very blingy, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, there's this place called Gold Souk, where everybody gathers around, and all these sheikhs and the wives, they buy tons of jewelry from Dubai Gold Souk. That's very popular out there.
All right. What has been your motivation to sort of get into writing? So this is what you've been doing as your main profession, your mainstay, right? So how did it all like begin?
Okay, so as I mentioned to you that we were traveling constantly, like before the kids were born, before the twins happened, I think we were just living out of suitcases, like 6 months here, 8 months there, 1 year here, 5 months there because of my husband's project work. So I thought, why not utilize this time? I knew I couldn't get a stable job in such a situation. I wouldn't be able to go and get an office job if I'm constantly moving around every 5-6 months. So I thought, okay, let me try and start something, follow my passion. And I've always been passionate about writing since school. I had a flair for writing essays and letters and English literature and stuff. That was one of my favorite subjects. So I thought, okay, let me just continue this. And so I ended up doing a course in creative writing and journalism from Manchester. It was an online course, basically, correspondence course.
All right.
It's called the Writers Bureau from UK. And that lasted for about 2 years. I did that when I was living in Brunei.
Wow, that was like quite a long course. I mean, 2 years.
Well, yeah, you can take your own sweet time because it's
Okay.
correspondence, so there's no fixed limit. You can take 2 years or 3 years, or you can go at your own pace, or you could even stretch it out to 4 years.
Wow.
It's up to you. It's up to you how long you want to take.
That's great. Like, so it's depending on your comfort level. And where did you do your schooling in college from, Ruchi?
So my schooling was again various places because that's why I consider myself a vagabond, because even when I was young and living with my parents, I was shifting around various places. I did my schooling from, I think, 7-8 different cities, and so various cities in India basically. I've done schooling from Delhi, Lucknow, Kanpur, and also a little bit elementary education was done in New York, because my dad was a banker, so we were posted there for about 5 years.
All right.
And then when we came back to India, again, he got transferred very often. So my schooling was done from everywhere.
Pretty
And then
awesome.
college, I managed to do in one place, luckily, in Bombay, which is known as Mumbai now. Yeah, but people who love the city, who have lived there long enough, still like to refer to it as Bombay.
Yes, Bombay. So cool. So you did your course from that university online, and how did it go from there?
Oh, okay. So while doing that course, I started publishing work in Brunei itself. So what happens is that they give you certain set of questions. It's all correspondence. So earlier it was more of letter writing, So I used to send my essays and my work through my letters. I used to send it to UK, and they used to reply through letters itself. So it went on for a couple of years, and within that duration, I started publishing for Borneo Bulletin. I started writing my travel articles, and they started being published over there. Well, when I came to Singapore, I did contact some magazines. In fact, right after my twins were born, I think they were just about 2 years old that time when I started contacting the magazines out here. And I got a pretty favorable response. So some of the magazines I've published in are Today's Parents, Live Well Baby, Expat Living, Travel Guide, Young Parents. So yeah, I did more of health-related subjects for magazines, and some travel as well.
How important do you think is education in all of this?
Schooling, of course, is important, and so is getting a degree, so is college. But beyond that, if you are a natural writer, then I don't think you need a lot of formal training. But one thing I'd like to say is that if you do a certain course that pertains only to writing, the craft of writing, like creative writing or journalism or something like that, it may just help you to hone your skills. They don't exactly teach you how to write so well,
Exactly.
So basically the words, whatever you want to say, your thoughts, they're all yours. So nobody can teach you all that stuff,
Exactly.
But it can help you to improve your thoughts, probably your thought process, these courses, and maybe improve a little bit of your vocabulary. That can be done. Yeah, that can be helpful.
Yes, exactly. And I'm actually Ruchi reminded a lot about, like, a lot of people come to me because they're like they see me do voiceovers on National Geographic, they see me do voiceovers on Discovery Channel and stuff like that, and they're like, David, they call me David, can you give us classes? And I'm like, I very honestly have never been somebody who thinks I'm that good that I can give people classes. All right, people have a different opinion, but I don't think I am that good. All right, and they tell me that, and I'm telling you, 90% of these people who come to me come with that expectation in mind that if we do a course with him, he'll be able to help us do what he is doing. Now, that kind of ties into what you just said. I think what Ruchi wanted to say was that you can help a painter by making them understand how to use different colors a little better, maybe teach them new techniques, but you can't make them make a Mona Lisa, right? That Mona Lisa has to come from inside you. Right? If I got your drift right. So you either and I think writing and most of art, even voiceovers for that matter, is something that you either do naturally, and if you have a very strong feeling that you're a natural at something, then these courses can help you take that natural, already prevalent skill to the next level. But if you have like absolutely no inclination, and if you're just doing this because your best friend is also doing it or something, then very, very wrong, a very bad idea to take it up.
Yeah, so words and thoughts are your own, right? It has to come from within.
Absolutely.
Actually, what other thing helps in writing is your experiences. Now, for example, if you're just a girl who's going to school or college, coming back home every single day, 8 to 3 school, and then coming back home, then going to school, then coming back home, you won't really have many experiences to share in your writing.
Yes.
But if you have traveled the world, if you've seen lots of different places, if you've met a lot of different people and got to know their cultures and tried their different country food and stuff, you have a lot of experiences to share, basically. So I think that also makes a big difference. It depends on how vast your journey has been in life, so these experiences, especially traveling and all, it broadens your mind, it broadens your thinking,
So I'm relating to what you're saying in the different fields that I belong to, all right? So when people listen to us speak on the radio, it's the same. It ties into our perspective, because for a person who has had many, many different experiences, has met 1,000 kinds of people, been in different situations, been to different countries, been to different places, your take on the same thing would be very different, which I say to a lot of people who are also into photography. So they will buy this really super expensive DSLR camera, and they'll be posting photos of everything that they say around them, and I'm trying to tell them that bro, the reason why you're not getting likes on your Instagram is not because there's something wrong with your photography. It's because you're showing them what they anyway see every single day. So how is what you're showing different than what they're already used to? So this is a message that I would like to give to everybody who's out there, who's a singer, who's a radio presenter, who's even a writer, who's into any kind of creative stuff. If you want to make your work stand out, if you want to do something other than what everybody else is doing, you need to broaden your horizon. Of course, that is not something that you can do right now, because your drawing room, your living room, your bathroom and your balcony are the only places that you can go to. But here's hoping that the lockdown shuts down and we get rid of this coronavirus situation, which has gripped the entire world. Tell me, Ruchi, right now you're in Singapore. What is the coronavirus situation there, in your city and in your country right now?
Well, I think the Singapore government is handling the situation extremely well. So until now, we've had very few people dying from this virus, although there have been thousands of infected people. But I think because it's a small country and the population is very less, it's kind of easier to control compared to huge countries like the US and India, where the population is extremely vast. So it's spreading like wildfire out there in such places. Yeah, this situation is, I think this period is a historical one, which is probably going to go down in history, because I don't think anybody has seen this sort of a situation where we've had to battle such a virus. We've never seen this sort of a battle before.
Yes,
so this
never.
is definitely going to go down in history, this period.
But reality जो situation है वो मुझे आप बताओ अभी हो क्या रहा है? मतलब when you wake up in the morning, how irritated are you with your husband and your kids, and how irritated are they with you? Are your neighbors giving you dirty looks when they see you go up and down your building? Tell me that.
The irritation level does go up and down at times.
Yes.
Because when you have each other 24 hours a day, every single day, every single minute, we're locked in together.
Yes, which is something that people are not used to.
Yeah, yeah. But then I think the same situation is there in every household. So
Yes.
I wouldn't want to complain about that because I know everybody is going through this lockdown situation, not only me. But what's the funny part is that we all have captured separate
Different.
rooms. Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
good. That's good.
yeah, so I'm in one room, the hubby's in another room. My kids both are in two separate rooms. So during the day, when we want to do our work like reading, writing, computer, like my hubby is still working from home. So he's on his calls and computer and stuff. So during the day, we're all in separate rooms. My children are they're in two separate rooms doing distance learning these days.
All right, that's amazing.
So,
So basically,
yeah.
there is no common area of conflict. मतलब बेसिकली आपके घर में अभी कोई कश्मीर नहीं है. अलग 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 कंट्रीज हैं सबकी, सब अपने अपने एरिया में खुश हैं. कोई किसी से पंगे नहीं ले रहा बेसिकली अभी.
वो होना भी नहीं चाहिए, वो सिचुएशन आनी भी नहीं चाहिए कश्मीर वाली.
So for all those people, who are listening to Ruchi speak, this is something that you can probably do. So if you have like a 1 BHK, maybe the one part of a bedroom can be assigned to one person, another part of the bedroom can be, and just keep your fingers crossed that no two people at the same time want to share a bathroom, in case there are limited number of bathrooms in the house. Then there is going to be war, and then even neither Ruchi can help you and neither Ashish David can help you at that time. You being a mother, not just a mother, but being a mother of twins, and also being somebody who has that kind of writing expertise and who's had a writing background, and you're so good with what you do. Like, what are you doing with your children to make sure that the literary side of your personality is sort of given on to them? How do you encourage that kind of reading in them?
Well, right now my kids are 15, so they don't really need that sort of an encouragement. Now they're pretty much on their own, they're independent, so I'm not the one who reads to them. But when they were younger, when they were in elementary school, I used to read most of the books to them. And I think that's one of the reasons I've inculcated this love of reading in them. So now automatically they like reading books. I don't have to push them. I don't have to like give them a nudge or push them too hard to do their reading. They do it on their own. But it's very important that from a younger age, like from the age they start understanding, or even before they start understanding letters and words, I feel reading should be done. Like I started reading to my kids probably when they were a few months old, even before they started understanding words and letters. So I always used to have books in the house, and I used to bring these training books, like potty training books, and different sort of books for the kids. So I used to show them all the pictures and read to them, and even if they didn't understand, they would look with these big wide eyes, whenever I used to read, and they would try to engross what I was trying to tell them. So I think that's a nice way of getting children to fall in love with books. So you start reading to them at a very early age.
Because the thing that I have faced is I come across a lot of parents, Ruchi, I'll be honest with you, and they sort of blame their children for not being interested in something, or not having a passion, or not having a hobby, and not pursuing something like maybe their best friend's children are pursuing. Okay, and they have this whole thing of comparing their kids, and they sometimes even, like, they're honest with me, and they sometimes even criticize their children. But I feel that there is a huge responsibility of the parent, and parenting is a very, very big responsibility, that you need to do some kind of initiating towards encouraging or pushing your child towards something. Fine, don't be like a Hitler and don't breathe down their neck, do this, don't do that. But you should at least expose them and give them an opportunity to learn and experience certain things before they can sort of maybe, say for example, you said your kids are around the 15 age right now. So they are smart enough to sort of know, Acha, I don't like this, I like this. But so I'll take my story, for instance. When I was in my mom's womb, she was listening to records, okay? She was listening to records of Jim Reeves, of Buddy Holly, of the Beatles, of Elvis Presley, of ABBA, Boney M. And when I grew up, music was a very natural part of our household. It was like there is dinner. अभी
Yeah.
मम्मी चिकन करी और चावल बना रही है और साथ में म्यूजिक बज रहा है. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So
That's very common. It's a very common part of our household too. I mean, there's always music in the house.
Absolutely.
Like with us, except for the time when the kids are studying. Other than that, mera music almost whatever I'm doing in the background, generally I have music on in the background, and it makes me happy. It keeps my spirit up. So
that is amazing. I think me and Ruchi would collectively like to advise all parents who have kids who are like 1, 2, 3, 4 that please have some kind of music playing in the house. It doesn't matter whether your music taste is good or bad. We are not judging you on that, but there should be some kind of music, and there should be a reasonable number of books in the house that the kids can pick up and like go through. Right, Ruchi?
yes, absolutely.
And so Mother's Day is quite close, Ruchi. Tell me a little bit about your mother, and let us all know your mother a little bit.
Okay, well, I have a very, very beautiful mother. Hey, Mom, if you're going to be watching this, I just want to send out a message to you.
Hi, Auntie. What's up?
I love you, Mummy, from the bottom of my heart. You already know it, but it's just that I don't tell you this very often. And I think none of your kids ever tell you this very often.
Sibling rivalry.
So we're like 3 daughters. And she's basically done a beautiful job of raising us. She's done a beautiful job of bringing us all 3 up in one household. And basically, you know how moms are. They're loving, they're kind. She's got a huge heart. She's very big-hearted, and whenever I go back to India, she makes sure that I have my favorite food to eat.
Yes, and then you put all the weight back up. That is one of the things that all mothers do, I think. Whenever I go to Delhi, also my mother is going to cook all kinds of things that I'm trying to avoid here in Muscat.
Yeah. So that's a mother's love for you, I guess. And it's been so long I haven't seen her. It's been about a year now. Mummy, as soon as the lockdown is over, as soon as the planes start working, I'm going to take a flight and fly right to you.
and Ruchi's mummy is going to thank me also. मैं भी आपके बेटे जैसा ही हूँ, because I am going to make Ruchi read a nice story or written word that she has written for her mother and for all the mothers, my mother as well, who's in Delhi, and for everybody's mother. Let's have it, Ruchi. Let's have, now we've known the artist, now let's see some of your art.
Okay, if you insist. Well, this is just a short story that I penned down. It's not a very formal sort of a story. I didn't give it too much time and too much thought. I just had a few days to pen it down. On your request, I did it, Ashish.
Thank you so much.
So don't hold it against me if it doesn't reach your expectations.
No. We like anything. Let's go.
And since it's Mother's Day, I thought it would be apt to pen down a story which talks about motherhood.
Yes.
So I've given it the title Bubblegum. So here goes. Several years ago, my husband and I moved to Singapore. The fact that I was in my 7th month of pregnancy didn't make it easy. On top of that, the fact that I was carrying twins and shifting house, which is sometimes quite stressful, was all the more painful. Twins are known to come into the world earlier than usual, so I was pretty much prepared for their arrival in a month or so. But with all the shifting around, setting up house, buying tons of baby stuff, getting myself prepared for the howling and tantrums of 2 babies made my anxiety level hit the roof. I remember this funny incident once when I waddled into a supermarket asking the salesperson if he had bubble gum. Earlier, I was the kind of person who could chew gum and blow bubbles out of gum every single day if given a chance. But Singapore changed all of that. The salesperson looked at me as if I was about to lose my mind. I could almost read his thoughts as if he was thinking, why is such a hugely pregnant woman who can pop any minute now craving for chewing gum? But then I instantly tried to salvage my reputation by saying, oh, don't worry, bubble gum is not injurious to health during pregnancy. It was later that I found out that selling bubble gum was not legal in Singapore, which is why. Yeah, and there's a big story behind that as well, which I'm not going to get into right now. But if you guys would like to know why it's illegal, you can Google it and find out. It's a very nice, funny story. So it was later that I found out that selling bubble gum was not legal in Singapore, which is why the salesperson had that scandalous look on his face. During this delicate period, it's always super to have great friends and a good support system to fall back on and to share feelings and experiences with. However, being a new girl in this beautiful city, I really had none of that. The people that I met in my building all had singletons, so nobody really knew anything about having twins. And most of the time, they were just so busy in their own lives that even a hello, how are you, was hard to come by. However, just before my delivery, I did get some support in the form of my parents, who stayed with me for a few months. But when the dreaded day of their departure came, I was literally terrified as to whether or not I would be able to care for two babies at once, pretty much on my own. I think most parents of twins or triplets would agree with me that it's hard to catch even 3 to 4 hours of sleep in a day. Between the tantrums, there were many splendid moments of peals of laughter. Between the heaps of diapers and sleep deprivation, there was also the feeling of double the joy. So I guess to reap the benefit of twice the happiness, the tantrums and lack of sleep was all worth it. Now that I look back, I thank God that He has blessed me with a daughter as well as a son to complete my family. And I wouldn't want to change any of that.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this wonderful story of motherhood, Ruchi. So if you know there are people who want to look up your work, how do they get connected?
Yeah, so the blog is called Ruchi-Gupta.blogspot.com.
All right, ruchi-gupta.blogspot.com. Any last message that you'd like to give to the entire audience of the Ashish Ddavidd Show on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Public Radio, on Breaker, on so many different platforms, and I'm going to post this on YouTube and on Facebook and on Instagram as well.
So all I'd like to say is that, China may have been responsible for this. Everybody knows it. And SARS also originated from there. So I just like to tell the Chinese government to please stop harboring all these horrible animals like bats that produce all these viruses, and they're killing, they're infecting millions of people all over the world. So if they can do something drastic, like they can take really strict measures to stop harboring and breeding all these wild bats that are producing all of this virus, then yeah, it'll be much safer for everybody, for all of us, and we won't have to have this lockdown situation ever again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time and your energy, Ruchi. It was lovely interviewing you and spending this time with you. And we look forward to getting more updates from you. All right. Any book you publish, any article you publish, you can always tag me, and you can always depend on me to share it with all my audiences. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ashish. It was lovely chatting with you. I feel as if I'm chatting with a friend over coffee or tea or coffee, as if I've gone to a friend's house and we're just having a very casual sort of a chat and over coffee. So that's how it feels.
Exactly. You know, for all those people who are like thinking that, before this interview started, Ruchi was saying, hey, Ashish, like a lot of people will be watching this. And I was like, no, Ruchi, this is just you and me talking. So I hope everybody who watches this feels the same. And I shall see all of you, rest of you people, in the next episode. And in case you want to be interviewed on the Ashish Ddavidd show, just like Ruchi Gupta did right now, then you can email me. My email address is very simple. It's tubelighton@gmail.com. And you can get in touch with me any which way you want, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, anywhere you want. And thank you for tuning in. I shall see all of you, and I shall see you, Ruchi, in the future, in the next episode. Have a nice day. Have a lovely... And also, by the way, thank your son for helping out.
Sure, I will.
Bye.
Bye, Ashish. Bye.